welcome to Mooncakes, episode 42. I'm gonna take off this mask because it's like, you guys can't really hear me, but it's me, Debbie.
And surprise, it's Liz.
And
Joe.
Yes, and our guest Joe. This is our second time having him, so it's great to have him again.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
We didn't scare him off, so that's great.
Do I have lipstick all
No,
over
I
my face
was like-
because of the mask?
No, you're good. You're good.
Good. Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Welcome to the Halloween episode.
Yes.
I specifically asked to be on the Halloween episode.
I know. Joe's like,
Because I love Halloween.
Do you love Halloween more than Day of the Dead, which is your birthday?
I love Halloween more because it's American. I'm American.
Yes, you definitely look like your typical American.
Yeah.
well, I wanted to just start off the episode. Just to start off, like, what's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you?
Oh, man. You went right into it.
I just, just to
I
start
can
off
tell you
strong.
stuff that it
Too
will probably
many. Do you
make
have one in mind?
very-
I have one in mind, but I guess the scariest thing that happened to me, but that ended up not being so scary, is ending up in a psych ward.
Oh.
That's scary.
That's everyone's
like
that's
a
lot of
nightmare.
that's a lot of people's fears,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
the biggest fear is like ending up in a psych ward, and that's what I ended up, because for those of you, this is your first time listening to us, Mooncakes podcast. I was diagnosed with bipolar, just 11 years now.
Wow.
Wow.
When I was
In a minute.
23, 24, I was diagnosed with bipolar. I'm 34 now. And I had my first major manic breakdown episode when I want to say 23. It's I should know the year, but
It's okay.
but I didn't.
Yeah.
It's just a blur.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I ended
As
up
it should be.
yeah, and I ended up in a psych ward, or they a nicer way of saying it's inpatient hospital. It's a nicer way of
That
saying
is a
it.
nice way of saying it. It's not so scary.
Yeah.
Psych ward.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It is scary. I mean, of course, I was like, ending up there was probably one of the scariest things for me, but scariest was that what led up to that, and I've mentioned it in this podcast in the previous episodes, and we can link it back. So I don't need to go into so much detail, but I was manic, so I was feeling like God. I was feeling like Christ-like, and I just like the Messiah complex, right? So I ended up knocking on someone's door in the middle of the night. Again, manic, right? Knocking on someone's door in the middle of the night at an apartment complex, and they call the cops on me. I'm arrested. I end up in the back of
Wait, where were you while the cops got there? Because cops take a while to get there.
Yeah. I was just
So you
at
were
that
just
person's.
around?
I was just at that person's balcony. At that person's
The whole time.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
like 30, 40 minutes you were on that balcony, but it didn't feel like 30, 40 minutes.
I mean,
Felt like a lifetime of it.
felt like they were there quick. I don't know.
Yeah. So they were there.
But because you know why? I abandoned my parents' car in the middle of an intersection. I'm sure someone called the cops then.
got it,
and then from there, they're like, and then there's this little Asian girl out there. And they're like, there must be they put two and two together. Like, who abandoned the car? Oh, it must be this little Asian girl.
Yeah.
And so, got arrested. That was scary, actually. Just like, get down.
Yeah,
and,
that's scary.
I had a Bible in my hand. I was wearing sandals, flip flops. Like, I was like,
Here's the murderer.
I'm here to save the world. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm just like, and they're just like, this person is obviously 5150. Not mentally there. But I was mentally well enough to tell them where I lived. I kind of it was like dreamlike. I kind of snapped out of it for a moment, and they're just like, where do you live? And I'm like, oh God. I just tell my address. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And I was in my head, and just
so much happening.
so much happening. I was scared, like the cops, it kind of
Adrenaline,
sobered me,
yeah.
Adrenaline, but then I'm still manic. So that's the scariest part, is when it felt like a nightmare.
Yeah,
it really did feel like a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then ending up at St. Joseph's Hospital, and my parents at that point not knowing where I am, my friends and family having no idea.
Yeah.
And I remember trying to call my parents, and that's when they still have their home phone number, and that's
Thank
the only
God.
number I can remember.
Is it the same number?
Yeah, it's the same number.
wow,
It's
good.
but we don't have
That's
that. But we don't have the home phone number.
That was
anymore.
my lifeline.
I know.
That was
I
one of
know.
my lifelines.
It was enough. But the phone I was using at the St. Joseph's Hospital, they only allow you to call certain times. But I'm like, I need to call my parents. They don't know where I'm at. And I'm like, and I'm just in this hospital. I don't even know the name. And they're like, oh, you're at St. Joseph's. So I was able to call.
Are you still manic at that time, though?
Yes, still kind of manic. Like, and so like, but the phone I was using was kind of like glitchy. But it was enough to like hear my dad. And my dad's like, where are you? I'm like, guys, I'm at St. I think
Was
I'm
it a
like St.
payphone
Joseph.
inside
No,
there?
it's just not a payphone.
Okay.
It's like one of those like
landline phone,
Landlines.
but it looked like a payphone, but
Yeah.
like, but you don't have to pay. And they just divide it.
Was
and
it one of
stuff
those
like
old school retro ones with the dial?
that. No. Oh, there's a dial. There's a
Okay.
dial. You're right. There's a dial. And
Office
then
one probably.
yeah, and so man, and I just remember my dad being so scared, like, "Where are you? Where are you?" And I'm like, and the phone's kind of breaking up. I'm at St. Joseph's.
Yeah.
And then it kind of cuts out, and my dad's like, St. Joe's, like they were confused, like where is that and stuff. And at that point, like my good friends were calling everybody, and like everyone was kind of like hands on deck, like where's Debbie, you know? And so they called all the hospitals, and they were able to find out where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so they visit me the next.
network.
They visit me the next day and everything, and but that was the scariest that night, is being manic, thinking I'm the Messiah, having a Messiah complex, and thinking like I'm here to save the world and stuff, and then having the realization like, no, I'm in this inpatient hospital, and there's people screaming in other rooms, like, and I'm alone, and I am by myself. I don't know anybody, and my parents, I don't think they know where I'm at, and I'm just here. And did I really abandon my parents' car, and just all this grappling
This
with.
sounds like a psycho thriller.
Yeah.
You're
With myself.
Story, yeah, with yourself.
But
it
in
feels
reality,
like a
it was-
psycho thriller
yeah.
movie.
Suspense. Too.
Yeah, suspense.
Yeah,
psycho
and so
thriller.
I'm just like my mind is playing tricks on me.
Yeah, just
But
like in
this
the
whole-
movie where you're like, is that person crazy,
Is
or
that
are they
re-
just imagining, or
Yes.
is it really happening?
Is it real?
Yeah,
in my mind? In my mind,
So in your mind,
I'm like thinking like I'm here to save the world, but then in reality, it's like no, I'm just bipolar. But I didn't know at that point. I just
Yeah.
trusted my mind because I always say like if you can't trust your mind, like then who can you trust?
Yeah.
You can't trust your own mind that I've been with
It's scary.
23 plus years, and you're telling me it's lying to me, but it feels so real. And that's the thing. That's the scariest part, is my own mind turning against me after all these years. And you guys know me really well. Like anyone who knows me in real life, like I'm a very logical person. I'm pretty even keel. I'm not this hysterical person. And,
No.
and that's why it really caught me off guard, this whole thing. But it felt so real. And so, yeah, that was the scariest part. And then once that scary factor resided and kind of like passed, then it was like they're just trying to get me on medication to sleep because I haven't been sleeping.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
what
scary
leads
part
to
too.
it.
That's a scary part too, because they're trying to give you something to sleep,
you-
and your mind's like, "That's gonna kill
That's gonna
me.
be
That's gonna kill me."
I'm afraid to sleep.
Yeah,
I'm afraid to go to sleep because I'm
Yeah.
afraid that I'm
I'll
gonna
never
die.
wake up.
I'll never wake up.
Yeah, they're just
My
putting,
mind is like, what are you talking about? I'm in a dream. I'm awake, but I'm in a dream.
Yeah.
Like this is heaven, right? No, this is hell. Like I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
So that's the scariest part. And they're like, no, you have to take this. And your mind's like, that's poison.
Yeah, don't take it.
It's gonna
Yeah.
kill you. And you're like, oh my gosh. And like my
'Cause
mind
that's-
would not rest.
That's how it sounds like similar thinking to like someone that's been on meth for 7 days. Like me, like I thought the cops were gonna come and get me, so I would look into the
paranoia.
hole. The paranoia
Yes.
takes over. Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds similar.
Yeah,
it's not the
yeah,
same
not
exact
the same,
thing, but like
no, totally.
sounds-
The paranoia is getting
yeah.
there, and like that's what happened. So I was just like, and eventually I think they had to. And again, this is what's scary too, because I couldn't. I wouldn't take the medication, and they can't force you to swallow. Like they end up holding me down and giving me a shot.
Ooh,
and that's like one of the scariest, right?
That's scarier.
When it's restraining you?
Yeah, restraining, and that's even more scary,
restraining
right?
against your will is no fun for anyone. That's
yeah.
one of the scariest things.
Because that's happened to you, not like a shot, right?
Not only to you, many people in this world, like there's injustice from being restrained too. But you know, for a person like, I feel more against it because it happened to someone that's close to me, you know. So it's like, oh, you know, but. We'll continue with story.
No.
Is his mic in a good place?
Yeah,
I feel like
it
I feel like it should be right here.
No, I think it's good.
No, when he talks, he just has to face that way.
You have to face that way.
I will.
But he faces this way.
Yeah, I can still hear him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so-
Yeah.
Yes, but so yeah, it was just that's the thing, like getting restrained and stuff like that. But and getting the shot given to you, but like I had to sleep, and that's the only way to sleep. When I look at that on that perspective, like they just want me to sleep. And I was afraid to sleep, and like that's the only way to calm me down.
It's the paranoia that makes you afraid of them.
Yeah,
people that are actually trying to help you.
Yeah, and so and sure enough, of course, I slept, and
Much better, right?
I felt calm, of course, and like my mind wasn't tense and on edge and manic and stuff. But then it was the realization of like, okay, so
I might be sick or something.
Am I something wrong with me?
Yeah.
Like
That sucks. Yeah.
what's wrong with me? And like,
yeah.
no, like no,
That can't happen to
can't.
me. Yeah.
No, it's not me. No, like I can't. Like it's
Oh man.
and
Have hit you hard.
hit me really hard.
Yeah.
And accepting. It took me not months, but like years to accept that I'm bipolar and that
You were in a different state.
in a different state, and like had to accept that, and also to recover from the humiliation.
Yeah. That's very scary.
No one ever talks about like the recovery process of like this crazy shit you did when manic, and like you felt like I felt like God. I felt unstoppable. You know, like the pill Limitless. I don't know if you guys ever watched it. But like,
watched it.
You just feel amazing and unstoppable and just brilliant and just on ecstasy.
Shout out to Bradley Cooper.
And just on ecstasy and just feel like amazing, and all of a sudden you just crash and you're like, no, I'm in the psych ward, and
You realize.
I just was given a shot to go to sleep, and they tell me I'm bipolar, and I'm learning to accept. I had to learn to accept that, and then not only accept it, but to recover from the humiliation and all this stuff, all this this feeling of humiliation. That's the hard part.
Props to you, Deb, because all
cringe,
your emotion went to the extreme. It's crazy. Props to you, Debs.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like from what I've been through mentally, emotionally, and physically, and I have to say, thank God that I'm given the body that I'm given. Like I'm just this little Asian girl. Because if I was another
Oh my God, you'd be shot.
A man.
You'd be shot.
If I was a man, if I was
a man of color,
in America,
Yeah, you'd be shot.
I don't think the police. I'm sorry, but I don't think they would be as kind, or as understanding.
You would have had a broken
Right.
arm or something.
I would have broken. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, they would beat you for sure.
yeah. It's like
Because they're scared.
they're scared. Yeah. So
Ooh, I got the chills just thinking about
just
that.
thinking like things could have been so different.
Yeah.
For me. And
When did you feel like that came to mind? Like right away, or like it took a couple?
right away.
Right away,
I was
you were like, damn.
after I recovered and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and I could think fully, I was like, and started to lean towards gratitude and gratefulness that
Instead of why me?
why me? Yeah. First it was why me? Why me?
course,
It was
I would
all
too.
why me?
Yeah.
And like why me? Like what my life? But then again, like why not me? Like my childhood has always been so picturesque and perfect, and I had nothing to complain about, and so it happened, you know. Like
Yeah.
and
Got
it's made me a better person because of
Yeah.
it, and that's it's and
I
yeah,
believe you were. Do you believe in destiny?
I do.
Like you know, everyone's book's already written, right? So you had to go through that. You know, and you're still here. You're still here.
I'm
Yeah,
still
here.
You're still here.
I'm
And you're
still
here to
here.
talk about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I want people to know. Like, I face some of people's greatest fear, which is ending up in the psych ward. But then when I was finally in it, and I was in it for like a week or two, I think 2 weeks at most,
Yeah.
for my first breakdown. Like, it actually ended up being one of the most peaceful, quiet moments of my life too.
Yeah.
Like because initially when you're that bad, I think they put you in level 1. And then once you are grounded and you're able to take your meds and like listen and properly like not be a harm to yourself or others, then they move you to level 2, which is not as bad. You have more privileges. And it was. I met some of the greatest people there and the kindest people, and we had group therapy, and time wasn't an issue, or getting a job or pressures of the world. It was just
kind of like a retreat.
It was.